Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. I am Gebo the Shaman, and today we're reading from the book called the Secret Commandment to, the Shamanic Secret Commandment to a Perfect Life. And this is the missing ingredient to the secret. That's the subtitle. So, anyway guys, we will continue. This is part 2, and we're picking it up on the chapter entitled Why Secret Commandment. So anyway, if you're interested, I have a bunch of, products, services, courses, things like that. So my website is a wealth of resources, so you can check those out at my website, gebotheshaman.com. I do astrology, a lot of astrology stuff. I have my astrology book called Tantric Secrets of Vedic Astrology. And let's get into this book. Alright, let's see here. Alright, why Secret Commandment? Why am I choosing to use the word commandment? Because that is exactly what it is. It is not optional. The universe has commanded that we follow this rule. If we choose to reject this commandment, the result can be destructive to our life. I know it's not popular to command anyone to do anything. It sounds too much like organized religion. But unlike organized religion, that seeks to, unlike religion that seeks to coerce you into doing things that you don't want, trying to force you to carry your cross through life, Secret Commandment only requires that you do one thing, whatever makes you deliriously happy. But you must do it to the hilt. If you hold back, you only deprive yourself. But what about other people? You may ask. Aren't I supposed to dedicate my life to the well-being of others? If I'm just selfishly focused on my own happiness, won't I be hurting other people? We are all interconnected. If you are empowering yourself, everyone else in existence is immediately empowered. If you are harmful to yourself, you will be harming others. So what if you want, so if what you want is to help other people, the first thing to do is make yourself happy. I have seen both in my own life and in the lives of others that when people consistently choose to reject implementing the commandment in their lives, to follow their deepest desires, they become unhappy and often become very physically sick. This was true in my case. Even though my divorce was very painful and frightening, it was also the best thing that could have happened to me. Throughout my marriage, I was trying to live according to someone else's expectations of me. I was not happy where I was. I was not happy where I was living, and I was not doing what I wanted to do. I was rejecting the secret commandment to live out my deepest passions and fantasies. After a decade of trying to force myself to fit into someone else's mold, besides being very unhappy, I started to become very sick. I gained a lot of weight, I had crippling back pain and muscle spasms. I had debilitating sciatica. pinched nerve in the spinal column. I had a constant swollen and painful knee. I was deeply depressed, and I suffered from extremely painful and debilitating tendinitis. According to doctors, my physical symptoms were a result of sports injuries and martial arts. They told me that there was very little I could do about my pain except learn to manage it through medication and bed rest. They told me I had to limit my physical activities and that I was probably going to have to severely restrict my physical activities for the rest of my life. I was told that I would probably have to rely on pain medication for the rest of my life. Thankfully, I never listened to that advice. Well, I'm here to tell you that all of my physical symptoms disappeared once I started following the secret commandment. Even though I was broke, homeless, and in pain, I took action as though I was rich and in perfect health. And once I was doing the things I loved again, my body completely healed itself. Now at 53 years old, I have no joint pain, no knee pain, no back pain, no muscle spasms. I look and feel 30 years younger. According to my recent blood work, I have the health of a 25-year-old. At first glance, people often think I'm 10 or more years younger than I really am. Now I'm not telling you that all of this is just to brag. There is an energetic and spiritual science to all this. The reason my health and life improved so rapidly is because once I started making the changes in my life and fearlessly following my passions, I was allowing my life force energy of the universe to flow freely in me, to flow freely to me. It has nothing to do with making smart decisions or being righteous or anything like that. It has to do with making the shift to allow myself to flow with the natural flow of the universal life force energy. Once you understand the energetic science behind the secret commandment, you will understand that anyone can have seemingly eternal youth and joy. It has to do with allowing the universe to supply you with an infinite source of life force energy. Life force energy. You may have heard of the words chi, prana, organ. These are different spiritual terms for life force energy flowing through the universe. This life force energy is what gives life to all things in the cosmos. This life force energy is what allows us to live and be healthy. When the flow of life force energy is blocked or constricted, it results in all kinds of problems: illness, sadness, depression, poverty, bad luck, etc. One of the ways we constrict or block the flow of this universal life force energy is when we refuse to follow our deepest desires. When the universal life force energy is allowed to follow its natural flow in our lives, by freely by freely following our deepest desires, we naturally become healthy, happy, and prosperous. In the past, I thought I understood the concept of life force energy. I believed that I could manipulate this life force energy to get what I thought I wanted in life. But I was frustrated most of the time. What I have learned since that time is that we cannot manipulate this energy. We have to obey it and flow with it. We obey it by following our natural desires. When we flow with this infinite life force energy, the universe bows down before us and gives us everything we need. And by everything, I mean everything. Money, health, romance, happiness, youth, luck, everything you can imagine will be at your fingertips. All you need to do is think about what you want and need, and it will magically come to you. Some of you may have resistance to the idea of obeying anything. It sounds very religious. I understand your caution here. I too do not like the idea of obedience in a religious way. But when it comes to obeying the life force energy in the universe, it is very different than obeying an external force like a judgmental God who sits in the heavens and commands you to do things you don't like to do. In fact, it is important to understand that in order for us to obey the secret commandment, we may need to change the way we see the universe. According to the secret commandment, you are the one who controls the universe. It is you whom you must obey. This is in direct opposition to most religious teachings that tell you that you must deny yourself and bow down before an angry God and obey him. The secret commandment says that you must obey your deepest desires, your deepest passions. It is not some God in the heavens whom you must obey. It is you. And here is the best part. When you listen to your own wishes and obey them, God, whatever that means to you, must bow down to you and obey and serve you. When someone obeys their deepest desires, they automatically sit on the throne of heaven and create the entire universe. The universe obeys you and bows down to you when you fearlessly follow your deepest desires. If you have resistance to this view of God, I understand. Perhaps another way to view it is that God has commanded to you to follow His will, and His will for you is embedded in your deepest desires. The way God shows you His will for you is by implanting desires in you that will bring you your deepest joy. However you choose to look at it, the result is the same. If you reject your deepest desires, you will be unhappy. If you follow your deepest desires, you will master your life. Why the secret usually doesn't work. So this is beginning a new chapter. Why the secret usually doesn't work. Most likely you are familiar with the New Age teaching best known as The Secret, which teaches that you can manifest whatever you focus on. This is absolutely correct, but it is incomplete. From the perspective of the secret commandment, when you are obeying your deepest desires and focusing on your intentions on how to fulfill those desires, whatever you focus on magically manifests for you. So, the secret commandment and the secret are in perfect alignment here. But oftentimes people who try to use the secret often operate from a faulty and incomplete assumption about how manifestation works. The faulty assumption associated with the secret is the assumption that you can manifest whatever you focus on. If this were true, everyone would be a billionaire. Since most people believe that if they were rich, they would be happy, money is what most people focus their intention on, and rarely is someone satisfied with their amount of money. The more you get, the more you want. So the foundation of the secret is incomplete. It assumes that you can arbitrarily decide what you want, and oftentimes people mistakenly focus on manifesting things based on their fears, things that they don't really want on a soul level. So they focus on cars or boats or something that represents their fears that as something of value. But your soul does not recognize these things as valuable. So there is an inherent conflict. And when you're in conflict with yourself, you run the risk of giving conflicting signals to the universe. So you'll most likely get conflicting results. When people focus on things that they think they need, based on their fears, usually material things, they are out of alignment with their soul. But the soul does not operate from fear and rarely needs material things. So part of this process is to listen to your soul rather than the fears. This may cause some conflict and confusion, but that is part of the fun, to figure what your soul really wants, what your soul really wants. Your soul will only focus on activities and lifestyles that bring you great joy. So if your desires require money, oftentimes you can get these things with little or no money. Instead of focusing on the money you think you need, just focus on the activity or the lifestyle and assume you will have whatever money you need to achieve it. Don't worry about the dollar amount. The universe will figure that out for you. The secret works only if one understands that the universe instantly manifests our deepest desires when we focus on them and take action to fulfill them. But if a person focuses on something that they only think they want, they usually fail to manifest their intentions, or worse yet, are unsatisfied if they do manifest their intentions. Where most people incorrectly apply the secret is when they try to focus on manifesting things that are not in alignment with their deepest desires. Oftentimes people are confused about what they really want as opposed to what they really Oftentimes people are confused about what they really want as opposed to what they think they want. We can lie to ourselves, but the universe cannot be fooled. If you focus on something that you only think that you want, or on something that you have been taught to believe that you want, or what you believe you should want, you'll be in conflict with your deepest desires, or with your deepest awareness. The universe picks up on your internal conflict and manifests with varying results. You see, most people do not believe that the universe wants them to have their deepest desires fulfilled. Most people do not trust the universe to naturally fulfill their passions and desires, so they think they have to get it for themselves. So they use the secret as a way to cheat and get what they want, what they think they want from the universe. Most people are not doing this on a conscious level. This is usually happening on an unconscious level. They unconsciously believe that they are unworthy of their deepest desires. They unconsciously feel guilty about what they really want, and so they're in deep conflict. They unconsciously believe that the universe is against them. This creates fear and insecurity, and their intentions become laced with fear. The result of this conflicted focus is the universe gets double messages from them about what they want to manifest, and as a result they get mixed results from their intentions. This belief that they are not worthy of their deepest desires comes from the pervasive false religious teachings we discussed in the previous chapter. Most of us have been subtly and repeatedly indoctrinated by our government, our society, our teachers, our ministers, etc., to believe that the universe is an empty, cold, cruel place that is constantly seeking to harm us and deny us our passions. Give me a second, guys. This false belief is from a very old religious belief system that was put into place in our society during the Middle Ages, hundreds of years ago. Even though most of us on a conscious level reject those outdated beliefs, nevertheless, we still carry these toxic beliefs deep in our unconscious minds, and they still have a profound effect on our thoughts and feelings. As a result, even if someone is a progressive thinking spiritual person, they may still believe on a deep unconscious level that they need to protect themselves from the cold, cruel universe by surrounding themselves with a lot of material things, like money, houses, cars, etc. So because they believe that they must provide themselves with all their resources, they first focus on manifesting money, cars, houses, fame, etc. And even if they are successful in getting these things, most people are unsuccessful in this area of manifesting. They still find that they are lonely, scared, and unhappy. If, like most people, they are unsuccessful in manifesting the money and the cars and the houses that they think they want, They then assume that the secret is false, and they give up. Or worse, they assume that they are doing something wrong, and they judge themselves for being bad at manifesting. They may continue to try even harder and harder to believe in the secret for years with little or no success. This only creates a deeper sense of fear, frustration, and insecurity. This negative cycle creates a self-fulfilling prophecy of failure, and you can guess the result of the story. So, this brings us to another fundamental rule regarding the secret commandment. Successful manifesting of desires is based on trust. The universe does not manifest intentions based in fear or insecurity. If people are focusing on manifesting out of fear or insecurity, the universe only sees the fear and manifests according to their insecurity. Even if they are focusing on money, for example, if the desire for money comes from fear and from fear of lack, they usually only manifest lack, not money. If someone believes that they must first manifest lots of money or material possessions in order to follow their deepest passions, they are operating from a false assumption that the universe is against them, and they feel they need to surround themselves with material things to protect them from the universe that is seeking to bring them joy. I run into this almost every day in my phone consultations. When I encourage someone to fearlessly follow their passions, a client will often say, "I would love to, but first I need to make enough money so that I don't have to work. When I have enough money not to work, then I can follow my dreams." To which I respond that the universe does not work that way. First, you must focus on your deepest desires and imagine yourself living that dream, regardless of money. If your focus is on if you focus on your innate fantasies and take action towards them, the universe will provide any money if it is needed. The universe has no interest in manifesting money or resources you don't need to fulfill your soul desire. The universe does not like to waste energy. If deep in your soul you know that you only need $40,000 a year to fulfill all of your desires, the universe is not going to give you $100,000 per year. Just to feed your insecurity. Think about it. How much do you really need to achieve all of your How much do you really need to achieve all your true desires? I know from personal experience that it doesn't necessarily take a lot of money to have abundance in all areas. You also know this on a deep level. You also know this on a deep level. So, focus on what you really want and just allow the universe to provide what you need to accomplish it. If you're not manifesting as much money as you think you need, then either you are in conflict with yourself about how much money you really need in order to accomplish your soul desire, or you may be operating from a place of fear and insecurity. You see, the universe does not recognize money by itself as anything of value. The universe only recognizes practical manifestations of resources. Money is only one form of resources. Money is nothing more than a symbol of physical resources. Money by itself cannot feed or clothe you. It cannot love you or keep you warm at night. The only way money has any use is if two parties agree to accept the symbol of money in exchange for whatever practical resource you need. The universe provides whatever resource is necessary for you to fulfill your deepest desires. And you would be surprised at how little money you may need to live your wildest dreams. That is why focusing on money alone is a waste of time, because the universe does not recognize empty symbols. For example, let's imagine someone whose dream is to live in the wilderness and spend time enjoying their passion of being isolated in pristine forest wilderness. Many people might think that in order to afford this lifestyle, a person would need to be extremely wealthy in order to buy a huge parcel of land in the Rocky Mountains, build a multi-million-dollar mansion where they can be isolated in the forest. But if the individual forgets about how much money they think they need to accomplish their dream, and instead fantasizes about simply being in pristine wilderness, they may end up manifesting a career which provides them with their fantasy life, such as a forest ranger. I remember backpacking deep in the Sierra Nevada mountains and meeting backcountry rangers who lived in backcountry ranger stations miles away from anything in the most beautiful, isolated locations imaginable. One would have to hike for days to get to these places. These backcountry ranger stations were beautiful, comfortable cabins located in the middle of the forest located in the middle of the most pristine wilderness you've ever seen. One in particular was at 10,000 feet, over 25 miles deep into the backcountry. To get to these cabins, one would have to hike over 2 mountain passes, over 14,000 feet. It would take the average person 3 days to get to this cabin, situated on an alpine lake surrounded by majestic granite peaks. This was the premier mountain getaway. The government provided these people with the premier wilderness cabins to live in for free, and then paid them a salary on top of that. These rangers worked a few hours a day, patrolling the wilderness on horseback provided by the government. They helped any hikers they met and answered questions. And then when their day of quote-unquote work was over, they could do anything they wanted: hike, fish, sleep, whatever. And they got paid to do it. Assuming their fantasy was to live in the wilderness, they got the most exclusive wilderness homes given to them at no cost. The cabins they lived in were in such amazing wilderness locations that no one, no matter how rich, would be able to buy them. Point being that money does not always buy you anything you want. But your inner desires can get you absolutely the best of everything. Best of everything that is in accordance with your deepest desires. If you're only focused on empty symbols like money, empty symbols alone like money, you may be actually confusing the universe with which only focuses on real energetic resources. You see, money is only the symbolic expression of energy. Just like clothes, shelter, happiness, health, love, food, etc., the universe does not differentiate between different types of energy resources. The universe only sees different manifestations of energy. The universe does not know the difference between the energy to provide resources, money, and the energy to provide a healthy body and mind. Do you know of any rich people who are sick? Of course you do. Do you know of any poor people who are healthy and happy? Of course you do. If someone is a billionaire but doesn't have enough life force energy to keep them physically healthy, their money is completely useless to them. In many cases, the stress that is needed to obtain and keep their money is the direct cause of their illness. I recently heard a phrase that exemplifies this. Some people are so poor, all they have is money. Money is only a form of life force energy, and as a rule, the universe does not give more energy than is needed to help you fulfill your deepest desires. If money is something that is necessary for the universe to provide to help you achieve your deepest passions, the money will be there. If your deepest desire is to live on the beach and surf all day, then maybe all you need is enough money to rent a small apartment and buy a couple of surfboards. In either case, each person, if they are fulfilling their deepest passions, will feel in their own way like the richest person in the world. If, on the other hand, the billionaire, constantly working with no free time, is stressed out and worried about how to pay his gigantic mortgage and protect his stocks and investments and has no time to enjoy his money, he will feel like a pauper. If he is physically unwell, then he will really feel poor. As a rule, from this shamanic perspective, if someone is suffering from chronic ill health, that is often a sign that they are not in alignment with their deepest desires, and no amount of money, medicines, or doctors will cure them. The only thing that will heal them is for them to operate from their soul, from their deepest desires. Put the poor guy who lives on the beach and surfs all day. Let's see here. Let me grab a drink. But the quote-unquote poor guy who lives on the beach and surfs all day is probably going to be in great physical health and most likely will be very happy if that's what he passionately wants from his life. This is why poor people can be in great health and rich people can be on death's door. In fact, I recently heard of a friend's father who had been suffering from Parkinson's Parkinson's disease. He was taking all kinds of medications for this disease. He recently began focusing on following his desires. He found love in a new relationship and focused more time and energy on having fun and enjoying life. Guess what? His Parkinson's symptoms disappeared, and he was able to wean himself off of his medication. His doctor has now declared that he no longer has Parkinson's. Let me give you an example in my own life. When I got divorced and moved back to Southern California, I had very little money, but I had more than enough money to completely fulfill my deepest desires, and as a result, I felt like the richest, luckiest man on the planet. For a time, after leaving Idaho, I lived in the local Southern California mountains, renting a small cabin. Right outside my door was a wilderness hiking trail that I trekked on every day for hours at a time. Even though I was not rich, I had enough money to work for myself on my own schedule. If I didn't think about how much money I did or didn't have, I was ecstatic. I had learned that if I follow my passions, the universe will always give me everything that I need to be happy. I knew of expensive, crowded, noisy neighborhoods in Los Angeles that contained multi-million-dollar houses that did not have access to wilderness. In my little mountain cabin, on the other hand, I had almost no neighbors, and I had thousands of acres of pristine wilderness right outside my front door, and a view that surpassed most of the views in the mansions of Los Angeles. I had total freedom, health, peace, and happiness. No amount of money could buy that. I was the richest man on the planet. I was doing exactly what I wanted to do. I am quite sure that many of the owners of these million-dollar mansions in the suburbs had a lot less free time to enjoy their money. I bet that most of them are working their tails off so that someday they can follow their passions once they retire. Speaking for myself, I'm not going to wait until I'm too old to enjoy my life. I want to live it to the fullest right now. Do you see where I'm going? Even though I was poor according to my bank account balance, I was enjoying the life of a king. Money had little to do with it all. I committed myself to following my deepest passions, and as a result, the universe provided me with the resources necessary to live my version. As a result, the universe provided me with the resources necessary to live my version of nirvana. So, the first step to manifesting your deepest desire is to first accept that the universe wants to make you happy. And the second step is simply accept that the universe must obey your deepest desire. Your only requirement is to take direct action toward your deepest desires, regardless of your current circumstances. The universe will spring into action once you do so, and supply you with whatever resources you may need to reach your dreams. and I will leave it there. We'll come back next time with the chapter How to Determine Your Deepest Desires. Well, guys, that was a pretty long chapter. So anyway, guys, I'm gonna go ahead and leave it there. If you're interested in anything that I have to offer, then you can go to my website, gebothishaman.com, and I have a bunch of astrology services and resources and things like that. You can check out my book, Tantric Secrets of Vedic Astrology, right there, and that's available on Amazon. I have the link below in the description. I have Qigong courses, astrology certification course. I offer astrology readings, birth time rectification, rune readings, career coaching, life coaching, a trauma healing course, emotional awareness course, and as well as distance energy healing sessions with me. So I'd highly recommend that you check those services out if you're interested. And we will talk to you next time. Yeah. So take care, guys. Peace.